Well, let me introduce Speaker Pelosi, and I'll come to you next, Scott.
Thank you. It had not been my intention to come to this press availability, however tempting it would be to sing the praises of our House managers on behalf not only of the House of Representatives, on behalf of the American people, and I have to say personally on behalf of my grandchildren, who drew great hope and inspiration from each and every one of you. We could not be prouder of your patriotic presentations, the clarity in which you presented, and again, the inspiration that you have been to so many people. So I thank you for that. When I see all of them, it reminds me that when we recruit candidates to run for office, or we see them self-recruiting, we always say, and they'll say, well, I could be the president of my university, or I could be the head of my hospital department, or this or that. And so I have to think about whether I run for Congress. We always say, we don't want anybody without options. That's why we're looking to you to run, because you have options. That shouldn't be a reason for you not to run. But what we saw in that Senate today was a cowardly group of Republicans who apparently have no options because they were afraid to defend their job, respect the institution in which they served. Imagine that it would be vandalized in so many bad ways that I won't even go into here, and that they would not respect their institution. That the President of the Senate, Mike Pence, hang Mike Pence, was the chant, and they just dismissed that. Why? Because maybe they can't get another job. What is so important about any one of us? What is so important about the political survival of any one of us that is more important than our Constitution that we take an oath to protect and defend? But why I came over was because I listened to Mitch McConnell. Mitch McConnell, who when this distinguished group of House managers were gathered on January 15th to deliver the articles of impeachment, we're told it could not be received because Mitch McConnell had shut down the Senate and was going to keep it shut down until the inauguration. So for him to get up there and make this indictment against the president and then say, but I can't vote for it because it's after the fact that he established that it could not be delivered before the inauguration. Now, when you think about January 6th, between January 6th and January 20th, you're only talking about just under 2 weeks, a day under 2 weeks. So, the big lie, stop the steal, the big lie that you talked about, stop the steal, was the momentum for getting these people there on the 6th. They honestly believe, for whatever reason, maybe too much social media, whatever. Watch Social Media, that movie. Why they were thinking that that was true, that the election was not legitimate, whatever the reason the president told them. So that's the 6th. A week later, we impeach in the House. Thank you to those of you who participated right away. Jamie Raskin, Ted Lieu, and David Cicilline. Where's David Cicilline? They had it all written up and ready to go. Bipartisanly passed the House, and then 2 days later, ready with the case to take to the Senate. Oh, we can't receive it. Not a question. And then by the law, you're supposed to receive it and the next day start the trial. So for Mitch McConnell, who created the situation where it could not have been heard before the 20th, or even begun before the 20th in the Senate, to say all the things he said, oh my gosh, about Donald Trump and how horrible he was and is, and then say, but the time that the House chose to bring it over. No, we didn't choose. You chose not to receive it. So I think that's really important. And again, it doesn't matter. As Jamie and others have told us, you can have the case after the person is out of office. So it's an elementary discussion. The Senate rules in that way and honoring a precedent on this. So it didn't matter, except it was not the reason that he voted the way he did. It was the excuse that he used. And so that's why I think it's important, because that was a very important speech. I thought Chuck Schumer's speech was remarkable in laying it all out. I think he was inspired by all of you, because you raised the level of all of this to such a place of patriotism and knowledge of our country, our history, and what we owe our children. Again, we always say, honoring the vision of our founders, worthy of the sacrifice of our men and women in uniform, and respecting the aspirations of our children. They did all of that. And as Jamie, the distinguished lead manager said earlier, on this presidential weekend, our sense of patriotism is stirred, and we're called upon in a stronger way. So I want to thank them. I want to thank Stacy Plaskett. Thank you, Stacy. Thank you, Madeleine Dean. Thank you very much, Joe Naguse. Thank you, Eric Swalwell. Thank you, Diana DeGette. Thank you, David Cicilline. Thank you, Ted Lieu. Thank you, Joaquin Castro. Thank you very much, Mr. Lead Manager, on all of this. We just couldn't be prouder. I've been hearing from my grandchildren who are very sad that justice wasn't done. But by 15 votes, the Senate voted to convict, a good bipartisan statement about what has happened. It would not have been accomplished without your brilliant presentation. So I thank you for that, and I yield the floor back to all of you as I leave.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, thank you for your confidence in us. I was going to go next to Scott. Were you going to take the next one, David? Okay.
I was
Scott.
curious, though, for the Speaker, if she had a comment about Ms. McConnell's statement on the floor, suggesting that President Trump still was liable criminally or civilly for everything he did in office. Do you think now that the Justice Department or State Attorney General should pursue the legal?
He even hedged on that. Remember when he talked about incitement? He said he didn't think this rose to level. Oh, and so he was hedging all over the place. I don't know whether it was for donors or what, but whatever it was a very disingenuous speech. And I say that regretfully because I always want to be able to work with the leadership of the other party. I think our country needs a strong Republican Party. It's very important, and for him to try to have it every which way. But we will be going forward to make sure that this never happens again, in terms of to investigate and evaluate what caused this, and both in terms of the motivation, but also in terms of the security that we have to have as we go forward, recognizing how inflaming even some of our elected officials can be. But I defer to all these distinguished lawyers about what happens.
All right, let's see. So,
But Speaker Pelosi, is censure
I'll come to you and then I'll come to you. I'm sorry.
Is censure an option right now?
The censure is a slap in the face of the Constitution. That lets everybody off the hook. That lets everybody off the hook. Oh, these cowardly senators who couldn't face up to what the president did and what was at stake for our country are now going to have a chance to give a little slap on the wrist. We censure people for using stationery for the wrong purpose. We don't censure people for inciting insurrection that kills people in the Capitol.
You're here.
Yes.
Thank you. Can you just explain how you went from 1 wanting the contemporaneous notes from the Congresswoman, depositions, possibly leading to other depositions, to then entering an already public statement.